Well, hello. Today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to review a book. And normally, if I do a book review, I save that for my non-fountain pen show that I do on Sundays, when I do a non-fountain pen show on Sundays. But this is a book I think is appropriate for my audience. So I want to talk about it with you. So the book is Penol Pens and Pencils. Let's get this closer here. Oop. And not that close because it gets in the dark. But Penol Pens and Pencils. I have the information down in the video description. The author, copyright date, and so on. I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know how to say one of the author's first names. But get ready for me to butcher this. João P. Martins and Michael Miloro. So João P. Martins is a Portuguese doctor who lives in Lisbon, or did in 2012. And Michael Miloro is a doctor who lives in Omaha, Nebraska, here in the United States. So these two doctors created this book together. Now, how did it get started? Well, kind of like me, they saw these exotic pens and they're like, whoa, never heard of this before. And specifically, they saw them while traveling in Denmark. Independently at the time, because at the time they didn't know each other. In fact, one of them is 10 years older than the other. And got into this whole Penol thing 10 years before the other. But they were, both of them had basically the same origin story. Traveling to Denmark, they kept finding these pens sold by sold under the name Penol. And they were both fountain pen collectors. And started building a collection. And one of the things they both independently found is there's not a lot of information out there about Penol pens. There's no really good reputable sources, no big collectors. You want to find information about Parker fountain pens? It's out there. It's easy to find. Not so much for Penol. So they investigated Penol, started doing research. They're doctors, of course, so that maybe a little bit more financial resources. Made multiple trips to Denmark. Toured. They actually got a chance to tour the old factory because now Penol still exists, but they don't make fountain pens like this anymore. And just got all kinds of behind-the-scenes access. So I'm always uncomfortable how to review. Too close again. How to review a book like this because. And if I do it with my normal camera pointing down, we're running the risk of running afoul of copyright laws, and I'm not into that. So I'm just going to hold it back here and show you a couple pictures, but that's it. But the book is arranged historically. So there in the table of contents, we've got the early days, Penol begins, period of German occupation, early post-war period. Parker dominates again, Penol sub-brands, Danish competition, then it gets into Big Ben, Montblanc, Scribent, and some smaller brands. But all over the place, lots of good pictures of pens, Lots of good pictures of pens, for those of you into that kind of thing. It gets a little bit into, the personalities behind the company. There's the authors. We get into, why do we use an anchor as part of the logo? The sailing history of the founder of the company. Some vintage advertising is in this. Some old business pictures, pictures of pens. We have not architectural drawing, technical drawings of pens. So we have, in fact, I think I own that pen that I just showed you, the Penol Ambassador. But they have all kinds of good stuff, all kinds of vintage pens, vintage ink, lots and lots of vintage advertisements, and all the detail you could want about the company, up to the present day, which, like I said, in the present day, they no longer make these nice fountain pens. In the present day, they make markers and erasers and school kind of supplies. This is the kind of book that you would buy because, as I said, they had no definitive source to go to find information about this company. so they created it. Now, is it perfect? I have no way of fact-checking it and checking for accuracy. I did a little research to find out, and what little I researched was complimentary. Nobody that I found was contradicting anything that they said. So I'm thinking either it's pretty accurate or nobody cares enough to question what's in it. One or the other. Excuse me. I'm getting over this awful cold that just would not quit. But what this book shows is what can be created when somebody has a passionate interest in an obscure topic. I would like to see a similar book made, say, for Centro Pen, a brand that I like to collect, or Toes Pencala. The original founders of that company are interesting people, especially the one. Similar here, the founder of this company does have some interesting history, which it gets into in the book. I'll let you read the book because I'm reviewing the book, not summarizing it for you. I will say that the company has had a close relationship with Parker. What was I showing you? Oh yeah, some factory photos. Some pens that look an awful lot like Parker Duofolds there. There's one other picture I thought would be worth holding up. And watch, I won't be able to find it, because did I bookmark it? Of course not. Oh, is that it? Oh, yes, they show some of the historic buildings, like this is where the Penol repair shop used to be located. Different personalities in the company. Charts of information about pens. So, in short, anything you want to know about Penol pens is in here. Now, do you want to know about Penol pens? Well, I do. That's the kind of thing I'm into. I like these more obscure brands, especially when they turn out to be good quality brands. So naturally, when I found out this book existed, I bought it. There is supposedly a book about Toes Pencala out there, but not in a language I speak, and it's been hard for me to find it. So I don't have it. But back on the topic of Penol, and I do believe I'm pronouncing that right, I think this is a good book to look at. I also recognize it has a very small market. The layout in this, according to the copyright page, was done with Blurb, which is a graphic design website, so that people can create a photo book, but not have to know a lot of page design, page layout type stuff. Sometimes it shows, but overall, I think the book it feels quality. Fun fact, right now, as I say this, on Amazon, the hardcover is about $3 more than the paperback, so why wouldn't you buy the hardcover, which is what I did. But it feels quality, and yeah, a wealth of pictures and information about this brand that makes it possible for me to, I think, identify any Penol pen that I run into. So I hope that was interesting to you. It may be an interesting book to add to your collection. I like having a few fountain pen reference books on the shelves. I don't have very many, but I like to have a few. I'd like a few more. And this is a good one. So, well, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.